Hello everyone, Vampire218 here, and I'm pretty excited today to bring you a special guest to the channel to help me talk about Z-moves.
What's happening, guys? Loving it, aka Warfor120 right here. Getting ready to talk about some Z-moves with a broski who likes deer. His name is Vampire218, and I'm excited to be on his channel. What's up, broski?
Well, I do like deer because, A, Deerly becomes surprisingly broken with Z-moves.
It does.
But what we're going to talk about is, Z-moves in League play and how they're going to affect the meta in the future. So, before anything else, I want to explain. There's a couple different ways that drafts are going with them right now. Now, the IDL, the UBC, the ICL, various leagues like that are allowing 3 Z-move users, but only offense. And the GBA, I think you know more about that on what they are currently doing with Z-moves. So
yeah, essentially what a lot of other leagues are doing and what the GBA is considering to do is looking into only one Mon be your designated Z-move Pokemon for the season. It's kind of the idea, at least. We're still working on whether or not it's going to be official or whatnot, but that's really a big idea right there. Essentially, though, across the board, look at the NPL, you look at the NPA, you look at the P4G, any of the other big leagues out there that are really talking about some stuff. Everyone's pretty much 100% in agreement that we're not allowing any status Z moves due to the existence of things like Z conversion, Z forest curse. Things that allow full stat buffs and the ability to pass it in certain Pokemon like Eevee or all of the evolutions. So it's very much what we're seeing right now. And that's kind of been the theme so far with Generation 7 leagues, is that you're either allowing one active Z move holder for the season, or you're allowing like a set pool like 3. I know a lot of leagues are doing 3, like our league, the NPL, the NPA,
the UBC.
That's really the big difference. But essentially, no one's allowing things to be open play, which is very much a good thing, because otherwise, things like Porygon all of a sudden become a lot
tier
more
1.
issue.
They become like tier 1.
Exactly, because you're not having to designate this Pokemon as my Z-move Pokemon, which, like said, becomes scary because of things like that have real coverage. There are Pokemon out there that have real coverage, and that becomes an issue right there from the start.
Now, in addition to that, very few that I'm aware of are also allowing status Z-moves. From what I'm seeing, it's a lot more, offensive Z-moves than the status ones. So,
and a lot of it has to do with the added effects. There are a lot, like, for instance, one that's really annoying out there is Z Sand Attack, because it allows you to be able to buff your evasion and buff the opponent and to debuff the opponent's accuracy, which causes a really unfair advantage going forward. There are other things out there such as
Z Splash.
Z. Well, pretty much like Z Hypnosis allows a buff in speed and, of course, puts Pokemon in sleep, so it just makes Xurkitree actually work good. It's one of those kind of things, Vampire. That's what we're seeing right now. People are trying to still feel this thing out. The early leagues that have been experimental on things, my IPSL league actually did not allow Z moves at all, which is another one of the formats we're seeing. We're seeing formats also that literally are just not going to allow Z moves at all, because it just makes things even more different than it really should be from the stretch.
And absolutely, I can completely see that, because when you're looking at what a team has, and you're looking, okay, so I have to prep for this Pokemon. Let's say it's Tapu Koko, and you're going and you're like, okay, this Pokemon only has one move that can hurt me super effectively, and it's something like Grass Knot, or it's something like Mud Slap, or it's something really obscure, very low power. When they get access to that Z move and they can be a Z move user, it suddenly turns that move into an extremely powerful move.
Now, thankfully, one of the big things that Pokemon usually does horrible ideas for trying to make the meta more competitive and more diverse. Mega evolutions were definitely one of those that was controversial at first in a lot of ways, because it really did alter a lot of the ways things are played. But once we all figured out and adjusted to how it works, it made a lot more sense. They added this generation. They added a lot of crazy things. They added Beast Boost. They added Pokemon that actually gain stab advantages in their terrain with the Tapus. They added also, of course, all these Z moves and full buff Z moves that do random things. And more importantly, they did one thing right though when they added in Z moves, and that was they made it to where hidden power could not activate a Z move. So thankfully that is not an issue going forward. So we're good with that. But yes, it turns things like Mud Slap into a viable move if you're going to be using it for a Z move boosting or on a special attacker.
Well, on a special, even in special circumstances, a minimum 100 base power is nothing to scoff at. Like that, and that's what people seem not to realize. It takes these moves that you may only get something really obscure, really weak as that type in your move pool, but when you get a Z move, it suddenly becomes the same power as Earthquake.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I kind of agree with and understand, but don't at the same time, is how it works with Protect, because yes, I understand a Z move is very important and it kind of has to hit through Protect. But at the same time, I don't like how they did that, where it's doing 25% of the original damage.
It's one of those where it's fair but it's not kind of things. I really feel like they should have allowed that to stay in the game, because it would have been helping us be able to block things a little bit more. You gotta understand, they really haven't. Pokemon really did a few things wrong this generation as far as making things more awkward and harder to compete with. One of those things that I personally believe they got wrong was the removal of Custat Berry. The removal of Custat Berry from this game really causes problems going forward, because it makes Pokemon like Dusknoir, makes Pokemon that are slow Pokemon, that are going to be able to come in and just basically, like Fortress. It makes Fortress no longer UU. It makes a lot of other Pokemon out there that would rely on Sturdy and then a Custap, hard-hitting move or a Custap Destiny Bond to really be able to be viable in a lot of ways. And that's one of the big things that I think they screwed up on, is that, you gotta understand, with any game, you have to be able to have counters to the big things that are threats out there. And when you remove one more aspect that can help you deal with someone who has a +3 Kartana with a Choice Scarf on, then you basically caused an issue for the whole metagame.
Now, I absolutely agree with that, and I have to wonder if in the future Nintendo is going to release these items, in event Pokemon, kind of what they're going to be doing with the Z Crystals.
I really hope that. Well, you mean by Z Crystals? You mean Z Crystals or the Mega Stones?
Well, both, because they like, look at how they did Mew Z. It's going to be the same way they're going to be doing the Marshadow Z Crystal. So these special event Z Crystals, like the Snorlax one, they're giving them out as special events. And the same that we're going to be doing with those future Mega Stones. So I wonder if they're going to maybe do that, because you can get items on event Pokemon, and that would be kind of nice.
That would be nice for sure, because definitely a Custat Berry is incredibly important for it to return to the metagame. It's one of those that you wouldn't really think about, but it really does take away so much more from the game. It makes a lot of things more difficult to deal with in draft leagues. I mean, Kieran Black, a lot of times, if you have just a team that for whatever, Kieran Black is already hard to deal with in a normal setting, but you remove megas like you're seeing from some leagues, like the GBA this season is not going to have mega evolutions. Well, you remove mega evolutions and don't have Custat Berry, and all of a sudden Choice Scarf Kieran Black on the wrong team becomes very hard to deal with.
Well, I was going to say, having one of the highest base stat totals, if not the highest.
It is the highest in draft leagues, yes.
And it's some of the best answers, like Tapu Lele, they still die to it in a lot of situations there, and that's what's really, is that it really doesn't have any good switch-ins, I don't think.
There are a couple Pokemon that can really switch into it, effectively, but not for every single play.
Exactly.
If you get like the best possible Pokemon I can think of off my head to switch into it would be like an Excadrill, but even Excadrill isn't exactly thrilled to switch into it on the off chance that it's rocking Ice Beam.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And mixed Kieran Black is something that you do see, and with the Z moves, I think you might start seeing more mixed Pokemon using them. And let's actually go into that. What type of Pokemon in a draft league should be carrying these moves? If you're only choosing one, or if you're choosing three, what Pokemon, what roles should be using them? And so I want to know your thoughts on this.
Well, it depends a lot on the league you're actually working with. If you're in a league that's only allowing one, like I have been hearing about for certain leagues, If you're in a league that only has one available to you for your move slot, you cannot put it on. You have to put it on a Pokemon that can take a hit. All right, in my opinion. One of the big things, obviously, is you want a Pokemon that has breadth in his lineup. You don't want to put it on something like what's a very one-dimensional Pokemon that has very few moves off the top of my head. Fudge Sickles. I'm trying to think. Well, Typhlosion is an example. It really only has about. Yeah, or Entei. Entei is a really good example. Entei, you could use normal boost for Breakneck Blitz. You could use, Fire boost for, Inferno Overdrive. Yeah, you could use Ground, Rock. Yeah. I think you could use Fighting and you could use Steel, but pretty much, it's only like 6 types. And while Entei does have some natural bulk to it, it's not what I would consider really a great Pokemon to be used for a Z move, because also anyway you're going to be wanting to use Sacred Fire 9 times out of 10 anyway with that Pokemon to try to get a burn on your opponents. So Pokemon that's a really good example for it would be a Pokemon like we mentioned. Kyurem Black is a great Pokemon for Z moves because it has the natural bulk, it has the move spread. I think there's only a few types of moves that it can't actually enact a Z move for. Is that correct?
That is correct, and what I also like about Kyurem Black is that it has the stats to be viable as a mixed. So you could easily run your physical or your special move, and you could do it differently week to week, or even in the same match. Right. You could bring, you look at how, I don't know off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of a Pokemon that learns both like Freeze Dry and a physical ice move. But
Cryogonal.
Okay, so Crown, you could do something like that where, you have this Pokemon that has the viability to do both physical and special, depending on the situation. So, you may be going in one week where you're like, oh man, I'm going against this super hard physical tank. I need to bring a special Z move. Good thing my Z move user has enough stats in its special to use that. And that's what a lot of the Pokemon that we're going to be talking about really have. Kyurem Black. Another really, really good one in my opinion is Mew.
Yeah, well, definitely any of the 600 base stat total legendary Pokemon are going to be great. These are the Pixies. The Pixies. Mew, Jirachi, Celebi, Victini. Shaman even. Shaman's a little light though because it doesn't have as much available to it, but it's still, if you want to use a really hard, a beastly grass move, come on, man, that's going to be Seed Flare with Z Seed Flare would be really scary to think about. But and then of course also the late Guardians, Azelf, Mesbert, Uxie. Uxie's a little bit more passive, but at the same time, you're really those three along with Mew and of course all the Pixies have.
Even the Tapus.
Yeah, even the Tapus.
And now the Tapus actually have something special about them with that. You probably can talk about that.
Well, there's the Z Nature's Madness is available to you as the Tapus. To be honest with you, the Tapus I really would never use as a Z move Pokemon though in general. If it was just like a one Pokemon league, they have enough durability to be able to withstand 1 or 2 hits, especially Finny. But at the same time, Finny would probably be the best one if you're going to pick it in a small league setup for a Z move because it does have access to Mud Slap. It has access to, a couple other water type moves and, of course, fairy moves and what have you. But really, in my opinion, the Tapus have one Z move available to you. And if you're in a three access league, definitely it would be worthwhile to have as an additional answer to bulky normal types. We all know that there's a lot of trainers out there that, if in the middle of the battle, in the wrong situation, Blissey, Chansey, Snorlax become really hard to deal with. Even Porygon too. They're just
Mega Aggron even.
Mega Cresselia. Right, well, I'm just talking about in general the bulky normal types, but definitely those as well. Definitely those as well. And if you use Z Nature's Madness, which brings the Guardian of Alola, you instantly remove 75% of your opponent's HP, and that's big. That's huge.
That's huge, especially because some of those Pokemon don't have viable recovery.
Yeah, or they have limited recovery. So if you wait to the right moment to spam it off, and all the recovery's gone, then boom, shakalaka. And that's really what it comes down to. If you're, but Vampire, if you're looking at a three really the answer comes to it. If you're going into a one Z move Pokemon, you got to basically have a Pokemon that going into it. You have 10 viable option types to use, at least to use a Z move for, while at the same time having enough power and enough natural bulk to be able to activate that. A Pokemon that would be a decent Z move user would obviously be Landorus Incarnate. I mean, come on, Lando, Coach Commando. I mean, but any of those would be it. Another great one would be definitely, in my opinion, Raikou could do a good job for you if you were looking for a smaller move pool.
I would say Raikou's better in a 3-man though, just because I feel there are even better electric types that are going to have a little bit more coverage than Raikou. Because, sure, Raikou gets the Ghost, Raikou gets the Electric, but even, I want to say, Jolteon. Now, it doesn't have the bulk, but it has the speed.
Right.
And that's pretty important, too.
Right, and that's more for a 3-man setup, because, like I said, Jolteon really only has about three types that it really can use. I mean, it has Shadow Ball, it has Signal Beam, and it has electric attacks. I don't know off the top of my head any other type that it really has available to it, at least that you see.
Signal Beam, electric. It should have a Shadow Ball.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, and electric types.
Yes.
And I think that's it. But I think sometimes that's still a viable option source for you. A really good one for you would be, believe it or not, Incineroar has a pretty good spread for you in terms of being that Pokemon. You have access to Flying, Fighting, Dark, Ground, Normal, Fire. That's 6 right there. You have access to Bug, Dragon. You have access to Ghost. You have access to. I'm looking through the list right here.
Malicious Moonsault, even.
And, that's 9 right there. That's 9 types right there. That's a pretty good option for you right there. But that's what you're looking for, essentially. You're looking for a Pokemon that, it doesn't have to be, hard-hitting moves each time, but it does have to be for each version that you use it for. It has to be a Pokemon that has, enough bulk to take a shot, and at the same time be able to keep coming. A Pokemon that can multitask without the use of an item.
Absolutely. So, going forward, are there any last thoughts that that we should maybe talk about with Z moves in League play? Because we've already talked about how they are transforming the meta, but they're not the only things doing that. So, just any last thoughts?
To be honest with you, I think a lot of it comes down to with Z moves. I think that if you're going to use them in leagues, I think you need to be very, very careful about how you use them. And the reason why is because I feel like a Z move is going to kind of be like hard switching in an unevolved Mega. It's going to be kind of your make or break moment in your games. Because we all know, if you have something like Mega Absol, once it's Mega Evolved is great, but if you're going to have to hard switch in regular Absol, it's you're missing the magic bounce, you're missing a lot of other things on part of it. So I feel like whenever you use a Z move in battle, it's going to be very much your defining moment in that match.
And I think the last words I would want to say to the viewers would be that you have to be very comfortable using a Z move. Don't feel you have to bring a Z move every week, because I've been in a lot of league battles with Z move now. I've been in a handful, and while they do have an impact on the game for planning and stuff, I am finding I've only brought them once, and that was in a very, very specific situation where I knew I needed it to kill a specific Pokemon. So you got to be very careful with how you're bringing them, because switch-ins are a thing. So if you're using the electric Z move and they go into a ground type, well,
exactly.
You're just
more importantly, though, another problem with it, though, you already see it on the ladder. If you're on the Showdown ladder very often, you don't see Z moves too often unless you're seeing a specific Z move that does a certain thing for your team, like Z Memento or
Z Conversion.
Yeah, or Z Conversion or something like that. You're seeing full status Z moves, but you're also seeing Z moves that are designed to really help support your team. Those are really the only ones you're seeing. You're not really seeing the attack Z moves, but in leagues you probably will, because like Vampire said, if you're up against chances that week and your team doesn't have a fighting type, well, you might need some extra help, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or if you need to OHKO a laddie with a Pokemon that maybe has Ice Punch, and you're like maximum damage, getting like 80% out, yeah, you'll probably run a Z move for that.
Probably. And that's really what it comes down to. But as far as it goes, guys, just be careful in what your thoughts are. If you are in a league that requires, the use of a Z move on one particular Pokemon, I would recommend doing this first before you do anything else. Just build your set, a normal set for that Pokemon, and run that team on a ladder without any item at all, and see if you have a problem making that Mon work. Because essentially, that's how you're playing that Pokemon. You are playing that Pokemon essentially with no item. So I would recommend, if you have a Pokemon that you want to try it out with, go on the ladder, play it a few times with no item, and see if you are able to actually make it work.
And I think that's all the time we have for today, guys. So I've been Vampire218.
I'm with an AK Warfor120.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace out.